Here's the truth. You know, signing that letter of intent is only the beginning. Once you step on that college campus, the pressure, the expectations, the pace is different. That's why I'm excited to have Rona Scott on today. She knows exactly what it takes to not just show up, at the next level, but to thrive there. So let's talk about what's really expected of a student athlete once the lights come on.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, coach. And you're super right. Like a lot of athletes think the hard part is getting the offer, getting that to sign the letter of intent, but college life, it hits differently between the workouts, the classes, practice meetings. You got to lock in every day and be able to balance multiple things at once.
Every day. I like that. Every day. So look, Rona, before we do a deep dive here, let's let the listeners know a little more about you.
Yeah, so I started playing softball when I was about 5 years old. I think as soon as I could walk, my mom was putting softballs in my hand. I was born in Vancouver, Washington. So again, my mom was very passionate about softball. It kind of was our thing in our family. So she put me in a club softball to compete at the higher level as soon as she could. Around the age of 11, I moved to Massachusetts and continued to find myself falling into different club softball programs, doing as much with softball as I could. And in high school, I had a really great experience playing for Beverly High School. Coach Sudak was an amazing softball coach. And she was able to help me kind of see that college is an option for me just because of the talent that I had. And I was recruited by the University of Southern Maine from the head coach, Sarah Jamo. And it was the best 5 years of my life playing for her. I was recruited as a pitcher, actually. It was kind of funny because I ended up just playing first base the whole time. But I played first base for USM. Yeah, it was honestly the day that she recruited me, it was the best day I ever pitched in the summer. And she's like, yeah, you should, which was neat. Yeah, but I ended up playing first base. We had an amazing pitching staff. So I was able to play the position I actually wanted to do, which was amazing and a really good experience as well. In college, I was able to go to regionals as a sophomore. We had a record breaking season that year. We had a lot of upperclassmen really leading us through because freshman year was COVID. So I didn't get to compete freshman year. So we were able to do that our sophomore year. We actually went to regionals in Wisconsin. Softball was great. But we had a record-breaking season with the amount of wins that we were able to get that year. It was a really great experience, and being able to compete at that level, I think after really made me want to compete more and more and more. That year we were regular season champs, and that was just a taste of competing at a high level that I was super excited to have that opportunity. And it kind of transferred over into the professional side of my life in college. So I was able to attend three different NCAA conventions, trying to pursue hopefully a career in sports or kind of just build up my leadership that I was seeing and my coaches were seeing in me. So I went to a student athlete leadership talk, and that was awesome. It was such a great experience. I went to an immersion program that was specific for Black student athletes at the time. And then I attended a career in sports forum post senior year to explore different careers in sports and upcoming ones like NIL, which was really awesome and a super cool opportunity. And if anyone ever has the opportunity to go to any of those conventions for the NCAA, I highly recommend those in terms of professional development. So after my senior year, I decided to pursue my degree. I wanted to kind of go off and do some things with athletics, but my degree was actually education. So I pursued a teaching career and I landed an amazing job for one of the most, I would say, prestige districts in Maine at Gorham. Pursued a teaching career. I'm now teaching fifth grade in the same town as my college, which is awesome. And I currently coach. I'm super comfortable too. I'm like, I know the town. I know where all the good breakfast spots are. This is great. And I could catch a USM game pretty frequently, which is awesome. I currently serve as a coach for 10U for a club softball program in Maine, one of the highest programs in Maine. And then I'm a high school softball coach as well. I'm repping, just going to practice for Gorham High School, just doing some hitting development with them.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Having an awesome experience in college is what it's all about. It's definitely what it's all about. It definitely creates memories and things of that nature too. So, and bonds, relationships, and things of that nature. So, let's dive into it now. So, let's talk about the academic pressure when you get on campus.
Yeah, No, you definitely do feel that. Like it definitely feels more real when you get on campus and you step into that sometimes an 80-person lecture room. And it is definitely a little bit overwhelming. But I would say it's definitely not an optional thing. You have to go to class. You have to participate. If you miss class, it definitely does affect your playing time and it affects practicing and it also gets you behind your teammates as well. So you don't want to miss school to miss practice because you definitely will fall behind in both aspects, your school life and then your athletic life as well. And people do say that, oh, you see like in the March Madness, like those athletes are, oh, I got class, I'm not going. That doesn't really happen. The professors don't give you passes just because you had an away game and you were playing in two states over, and then now you're back in your state where your college is at. So you definitely have to show up. You got to make sure you're managing your time, getting it done. No matter if it's on the bus, it's in a hotel room. Those things definitely actually do happen, and your GPA definitely does have an effect on where you end up professionally, and especially like depending on your major. For example, for teaching, you can have a grade below like a B minus in any of our core classes. Otherwise, you won't get your certification. We can't really drop, especially in academics, because that will affect your career and your academic success. But also, for example, my coach, we definitely had a standard with grades, and she would make sure, as a freshman especially, you're getting your study time in. If you drop below those team standards, it could be possibly getting benched.
You're exactly right. People that are listening are truly listening to this. This is valuable. Now, some athletes don't find out their academic until they're in academic probation. In other words, they just wait too late. The pressure is from day one. I mean, it's you have to go in prepared, not get prepared, at the end of the day. So look, now they also have to understand that there is discipline and structure off the field as well, right, Ron?
Yeah, definitely. Outside of practices, you'll have lifts. Let's say your lifting procedure is 5 a.m. and then you also have like a night or a PM lift as well. So you have to make sure that you're making every hour count in between those things because you're not going to have a lot of free time. I kind of found that I liked it like because my time was so structured, it made the time to do homework, the time to hang out with friends. It was very disciplined because you didn't really have free time. So you really made sure that your day was planned out and you didn't waste the time that you set aside to do that assignment because you knew the next day you're going to go to 5 a.m. Let's show up at 4:45. Definitely making sure you're using the time that you have to just maxing it out. You definitely need to be disciplined with that schedule. You want to make sure your meals are adequate. Like you want to make sure you're able to fill yourself up for the day and the long day that you're going to have. Like let's say it starts at 5 a.m. You also have like a 5 p.m. class as well. Like think about that. You're probably going to be in bed at like 10. So you want to make sure everything that you get enough rest. You're making sure you're going to study hall. Everything you're doing is all within that schedule and that you're following it. I would say the people that didn't have the structure, I can think of teammates that we didn't see the next year because of that. So making sure that you're following that structure and maybe like having like an accountability person. Like I definitely buddied up with a freshman my freshman year and we made sure like we were going to the library together, we were going to study hall together, we were doing outside lifts together. So kind of maybe finding somebody to hold you accountable to that structure that you need off the field.
All right, Ronald. So let's talk about the mental and emotional load because we know there's a load there.
Yeah. So I mean, specifically for softball, I know it's for every sport, but softball, baseball, it's mentally it's a grind. I mean, you have 10 at bats and you get 5 hits, that's 50%, and you're doing amazing. So thinking about like all the emotional and mental aspects that are tied to sports, I think in high school it's really you see like a lot of athletes right now on our team, they're not really having that mental and emotional load yet, but then it's in college and practices. Like the mental and emotional load right now in high school doesn't really come from practices, but in college, it's like you're fighting for a spot always. So it always feels like you're kind of trying to stay afloat and it feels like you're always trying to sink. So it's definitely important to stay on top of that physical and mental health. It's totally, I would say, something that you don't really get over, but something that you can like strengthen and prepare for. It always happens. experience. Especially like for me, I was only an hour and a half away from home, but an hour and a half away is not something that you can get to all the time. So you're definitely homesick as well. You got, 14 credits sometimes. You're feeling overwhelmed to get to those classes. Again, I mentioned it before, you're competing for that playing time, all while trying to keep your grades up so that you can actually be a part of that college. So it gets heavy, but I think that's where the mindset piece comes in. So if you're strong mentally, you won't be the person that cracks under the weight and kind of falls in beneath those cracks. So yeah, I think the routine comes in. And for me, a lot of that actually came from visualizing. So I'd always see myself at practice. I'd see myself in the game doing the things because those visualization is a superpower, honestly, because your brain isn't able to really see what's real or not because you still make those connections in your brain. So making sure you're keeping yourself grounded and preparing for what's to come will help reduce that weight that we were talking about, reduce that anxiety that will come in those big moments, which again, like I said, might even happen at practice. So like what are you going to do in those big moments? And I mentioned it earlier about having an accountability partner, especially with upperclassmen, because they are the leaders of the team and they know the system more than you do. So going in that freshman year, look at an upperclassman and they will be a valuable support system that will help guide you through those mental and emotional challenges that they've already faced for multiple years.
Yeah, I mean, man, if you're not listening, you should be listening. So that's good information, and it's spot on from someone that has experienced it themselves. So, and this is why we push our athletes to prepare before they step on campus. We do have a mental wellness program that we send them through. A dietary plan from a certified nutritionist. So when you step on that college campus, man, the mental part it's not a joke. It's not a joke. So let's dive into team expectations and accountability. What does that look like from your view?
I think Coach Deion Sanders does a good job of this because he kind of strips everyone of their name and their number in a way and kind of starts you off from ground zero. And that's really what it's like walking in that field day one. So it's not about the amount of hits you got, it's not about all the baskets that you got in high school, the points that you put up. It's kind of like being in a giant pond with a bunch of giant fish. Like there's so many of you or better in the same spot and you all have these same expectations, like showing up early, putting in the reps outside of practice, understanding different plays, whatever your playbook is, handling your business to the best of your ability. And when you mess up, it's kind of hard to go to somebody. So that accountability partner definitely would be a good spot because you can't just call somebody at home and tell you, oh, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. It's up to you to do it. So you're not at home anymore. So you have to make sure that you're really kind of just stepping into it, going in with your chest high and getting in the boat and just rowing because the team's going to leave you or not. So either get in, follow those team expectations, and hold yourself accountable to them early.
Absolutely. All right. So, Rona, let our listeners know what parents and athletes need to know right now.
Yeah, I would say if you're listening to this, probably high schoolers here, I would say parents definitely start building those habits right now that we've been talking about. I think if my mom were on this podcast, which she probably loves to be, she would definitely say, and she probably would have wished she helped me more with my grades, holding me accountable to going to sleep, eating better, things like that. It would just help set them up for success and not be so shocked when they go into this environment. And then athletes, I would say that this kind of becomes like your business and it kind of becomes your brand in a way. Like you need to be able to showcase who you are. It's not just going up there and again scoring those baskets, blocking goals. You really got to prepare yourself for this career that you're into. And if you want to develop that discipline, it's going to be harder to adjust to the team culture and overall environment without it. And the whole vibe of athletics is something that you can only imagine because when you get there, it's still going to be a shock. But if you have this level of discipline early on right now, it's going to be such an easier transition than it would be if you kind of got there and got shocked by that overall environment.
Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. What's the payoff? Why is it all worth it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I would say, despite, I mean, I feel like I've been talking kind of scary, like you got to do this, you got to do that. But despite all of that, like the challenge is what's worth it. Like the career afterwards is what's worth it. The characteristics that you're going to get from this experience is what's worth it, because the people that you're going to get hired by are going to be looking for athletes. They're going to be looking for people that are disciplined. They're going to be looking for people that can hold themselves accountable. They're going to be looking for people that are leaders and know how to lead a group of people that have all different types of personalities. They're going to be looking for people that are going to put themselves out there and take risks and be big in very stressful situations. So it's a blessing, but it's also hard, but it's so worth it as well. Like the things that'll come after the sport is what makes it so much so worth it.
Wow. Yeah, you couldn't have said that any better. It's this is not for the lazy and it's not for the unprepared either. But if you lock in, your future will thank you. And trust me, this lifestyle can open doors you never imagined, at the end of the day. So look, Rona, what we do on our podcast is we drop gems on every podcast show, and this show is no different. We're going to drop a couple of gems. It's just some actionable tips that athletes and family can take with them in their recruiting journey. So, gem number one is create a weekly schedule and stick to it. Creating one is part of the battle. Sticking to it is the hardest part of the battle. But if you can create a schedule and stick to it, there's a lot of promise in your dedication, discipline moving forward. Gem number two, practice responsibility now. Okay. And I hope this sinks in. Practice responsibility now. Don't wait till you get on a college campus. Don't start talking about what you're going to do when you get on a college campus, because it's usually too late by then. Don't wait till you get there. Be prepared before you arrive. Last gem we have here is build healthy habits and build them early. Start now. Don't start tomorrow. I don't care what classification you're in listening to this show. Start right now. Start today. Nutrition, sleep, your study habits, your training, get all of that in order. I'm a straight shooter. I'm very transparent and straightforward. I'm not telling you it's going to make everything easy for you, but it's going to make everything much more achievable for you to spend your time there and get out of college, which you intended to get out of college, in the first place. So, create a weekly schedule, practice responsibility now, and start building healthy habits early. So those are our gems for today. All right, so closing thoughts here. College life doesn't start when you move into the dorms. It just doesn't. It starts with how you prepare right now. So big thanks to Rona Scott for dropping knowledge today. If you want your athlete to be ready for college expectations, start getting them evaluated by getting on the College Prospect Report today. Head to collegeprospectreport.com/questionnaire and let's put the plan in motion now. Thanks again, Rona, for dropping by with some valued info each and every athlete and parent listening should absolutely be hearing. So thank you, Coach. Now, look, college does not make you great. It reveals if you were preparing for greatness all along. So grind now or get benched later. Thanks for listening. Peace.